What's up, beautiful people? First day of Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to you. A lot to get into today. Unapologetic, unsolicited, unfiltered. This is My2Centz.
I'm good, I just be up in my thoughts saying, yeah. Don't feel sorry for me. No pity parties for me. New Benz, new Barbies for me. For the list of my regrets, no more sorries for me.
Yeah. That's definitely the staple now. Hey, we're back again. Episode 3. Universal Mind Control. My2Centz on the misrepresentation of black culture and media. That's a long title, but we got a lot to get into. I got my people with me again. I got the homie, the friend, Nee. Sid is with us today.
Hello, Cam.
Clap for.
What I reckon.
And then I got the homie, the friend on the other end, that boy Misfit Chris. Wow.
What's going on?
What's up, my boy? What's up, my girl? My
Nice
people.
to be back.
We are here, episode 3.
3.
Universal Mind Control.
Yeah. So
Man, a lot.
Okay. So well, what's the 411? What we got for the news?
Let's talk about the news. We're going to talk about our homework assignment. Sid, did you happen to catch American Skin?
I did.
Chris?
You know I didn't see it.
Oh my God.
But I did my homework from last week, though.
Yeah.
So you just going to turn in late assignments and expect to make this A?
Bro, I just want a grade.
You know, what type of role model? No role
I
model.
want
role
a
models?
grade. I don't want a 0. So I have an opportunity to pass.
Okay.
I understand.
The highest you get is a C.
I'll take it.
You know what? We're going to allow Chris. We're going to allow Chris the
moment.
I'll
platform
take
to talk about One Night in Miami. Chris, tell us how you felt about One Night in Miami while we wait from episode 2. Go ahead.
First of all, I'm hurt that it wasn't true because it was a great movie, just overall.
That's what I said.
So I echo your sentiments. I really wish it was true. But I just think that it was great at how powerful all those men were, especially in that period of time, and the fact that they were able to challenge each other's perspectives, challenge what the others were doing, and really empower each other to be greater men, which is why I wish it was true.
I feel like that's kind of what is necessary through friendships.
Absolutely.
You know, if I can't challenge you, if I can't enable you to be better, if I can't, challenge your perspective, I just want to hear your perspective because that helps me moving forward. Maybe my mind grows and I start to view things differently. But yeah, One Night in Miami, definitely a great movie.
Definitely.
That's what we talked about last week. But anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
Moving on.
American Skin, Sid, tell me, how
Oh
did
my
you feel?
God.
I mean, definitely an amazing movie.
It was. Oh my God. I cried.
You know what? First off,
I cried. I
gotta
really
say,
cried.
my guy Nate Parker does not get enough recognition.
He does need his roses. man.
He needs them.
He needs his roses. He's
Hey, can
done.
we get an applause, Mike? I mean,
Yeah.
let's clap for Nate Parker.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never missed any movie he's been in has been great. I mean, I think somewhere down the line he is definitely kin to Jimmy Butler. They're cousins. They look just alike.
Fact.
They look alike. But the movie,
Oh, man.
the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
Sid, how'd you feel?
Oh my God. Initially, like I said last time, I don't like watching stuff like that because I already have this preconceived notion that they about to piss me off.
Right?
I'm going to have to calm down before I leave this house. I know it. But this time I was really surprised that majority of the movie was dialogue. And it was more everybody had a chance to say something.
I loved it because it wasn't done in a triggering way.
Yeah.
I didn't feel triggered in the movie, and that's what I thought was so great about it. Normally in movies like that, you watch it and I'm pissed.
It was very mild.
But it wasn't triggering at all.
It was a tasteful trigger.
It was.
Because that ending almost had me ready to go down the street.
But the greatest part about the ending, I'm watching the movie. I watched it earlier today. And as I'm watching it and the movie ends and I say, oh my gosh, this is the perfect movie for this episode. And I had no idea because granted I hadn't seen the movie.
Right.
But, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Chris, you didn't do homework, so it's going to be spoiled for you. But, at
He gonna write that
the
same
end of the movie, they kind of get into the misrepresentation, of black in media.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how the movie ends, which is why I loved it because it kind of foreshadowed, because you know the part where he actually says, I'm gonna take whatever time they throw at me. And it was like almost like, you know, I thought it was great because all the conversation he had with his son in the movie, and it was like how you said, don't believe the laws, they don't apply to us. And I'm thinking that's something that is true and definitely true. But then he looks and he still believes I was gonna come out of this alive, and I'm thinking like,
ain't no way.
There's no way, bro. There's no way.
But you know what? It drew me into it because I really thought he was going to be able to come outside. What hurt me the most was the fact that the cop got a chance to say he's unarmed, and
again, boom.
And they took him out.
I mean, and that's overall great movie.
Chris, you all right?
You should have done homework.
Spoiler alert.
But definitely want to move into what the episode is mainly about today, because like I said, that movie really touched on it, especially at the end. But universal mind control, my 2 cents on the misrepresentation of black culture and media. And the reason I use universal mind control, that's actually the common joint. Although the song has nothing to do with it, it's actually, but the title fit because that's what media is. It's a universal mind control. The media controls our thought process around any and everything that we feel. They can twist the narrative, in the heartbeat of how we feel about something. As soon as before we've decided how we feel,
they're gonna tell you.
And even back in the movie, they said anytime something like this happened, they get the mom on TV.
Yeah.
First thing they do is get the mom,
the
mom says, calm everything down.
That's not what we want.
Because if the mom isn't outraged enough to tear some shit down,
then you should.
Direct quotes from the
actual
movie.
quote.
If the mom isn't mad enough to tear shit down, then why should you be? And that's like universal mind control. That is amazing mind manipulation.
That's tough.
Mainly we want to start getting into this by talking about black media outlets, and mainly most popular BET. I have my feelings on BET. But I don't. I'm gonna kind of save my 2 cents. But kind of Chris, how do you feel when it comes to to BET? Do you think, well, not necessarily what you think, but what benefit has it provided the audience it was intended to serve? I guess.
I think it just gave us a platform to have something to call our own. While it was relevant, I think during the time that it was relevant, because I don't really consider BET to be too relevant anymore, but I think during the time that it was almost like our social media, because that was what we used to get our images out. That's what we used to get our voice out. That's the platform that we use to most represent us.
I'm glad you said that, because my biggest gripe that has always been with BET is something as a child I found much pleasure in.
Oh my God.
BET Uncut.
Are you kidding me?
Can we talk about it?
I mean,
I feel like it set us back. I feel like it was.
It definitely did.
Everything that we now, I won't even say now, everything that we have always fought for in media, Uncut undid. I mean, it really perpetuated every negative stereotype about the hip hop industry.
Yeah.
It perpetuated how black men felt about black women, how black women felt about themselves. It perpetuated everything that is negative.
Right.
Absolutely.
As a kid, I enjoyed that Tip Drill video.
I was about to say, shout out to Nelly for
that
for us.
And then
Nelly's still winning.
And that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
But it's like off of that type of platform, I never thought was beneficial in any kind of way. To black people, I felt like that was terrible, But even in that, we have BET. We talk about one of the main things that is relevant in our culture is reality TV. I used to never watch reality TV. Then I went through a time in my life where I saw. Matter of fact, the first reality show that I saw. The first episode was the Stevie J episode with the bus.
The Atlanta.
It was with the bus. And I was like, this dude's funny. And so I started to watch reality TV. And then before I knew it, I was watching every single one of them. And I was just like, why is this entertaining? Like we think about, reality TV, and then we think about things like the Shade Room. It's all about, the gossip. Like, why is this entertaining? Like that is a genuine question. Why is this entertaining for us?
I don't know. I guess it's pretty much like that high school thing that you never get used to, or you don't get over. You still have that.
I always had that drama.
You always gotta have something. Did you know such and such?
Right.
This. Like you just have to be the first to be in the know about something.
Right.
I'm not agreeing with that.
It's provocative.
It
keeps the people going.
But you can't. I don't know. I never liked that. I never liked people to know things without verifying it.
Yeah,
like if you want to know this, ask.
That's what really
if
bothers
I lie,
me.
Just let me lie, but just ask.
But it's certain things like the Shade Room that gives me a real appreciation for people like LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or I'm really only naming athletes that come to mind, but they're able to keep their private life private.
Mm-hmm.
And the
JB.
No.
What?
I mean, it's private, but it's not private.
I mean, it is private in a sense, but the fact that
for as big as they are,
the fact that Jay and Solange had a whole fight on the elevator and
we
didn't know,
we still don't know what that's about.
We know now. We know because
they
$44
profited off of it.
lemonade. We know now, but
that
literally went like that happened like a year and a half before we knew what the situation was.
Yeah,
so the fact that happened and somehow we swept that under. Nobody talked about it. It happened.
Yeah.
It was big for a few seconds, and then it kind of moved on about its business. So I think another one of the big things in media that bothers me when it comes to reality TV and Shade Room and things of that sort is that either a black woman or a gay black man is always the source of the tea, the gossip. It's
in the middle of it.
In the middle of it. It's just like that is perpetuated as black women or gay men, gay black men. Or messy.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to definitely talk about black women in media because I feel like that is that history goes back, far, far, far. There's actually a book by K. Sue Jewell, I'm not sure how she pronounces that, but came out in like 93. The book is called From Mammy to Miss America and Beyond. And in this book, she talks about the 3 archetypes of black women in media. And we know them all well. The first one is Mammy. Everybody knows about Mammy. Most popular Mammy that we have is Angel Mama. Who's that? Quaker recently said they're going to retire her image. But we have Mammy is an archetype. Sapphire as an archetype. That's Aunt Esther. We'll kind of get into detail what these are, and then the last one is Jezebel. Obviously, everyone knows about Jezebel. Example of that would be Foxy Brown. But Mammy, Sapphire, and Jezebel. Mammy, I'm going to read a few things for you. Mammy, the archetype was created during the period of slavery to convey what was acceptable of a slave woman to do and say. The image of a slave woman translated into an asexual maternal figure. If you think about Angel Mama, it's everybody's mom. She's smiling, she's cooking.
She's just happy to be here.
Just looks like I think a modern day example of that is the Popeyes lady.
Yeah.
Lady on the Popeyes commercial.
Yeah.
I think that but it translates into current day as the single mom.
Yeah.
And we think about although it was kind of created during slavery, I think now has been weaponized into killing the image of the black family.
Okay.
You understand? That's just kind of my 2 cents on because I kind of want to know what you guys think.
I think the next one is more, the Sapphire is what creates more of the damaging effect for women and how we become into that single mother situation to me.
I think it's very interesting that in this part that you put that she was asexual because of the fact that she also has this great personality, this mothering personality, but this person is asexual, whereas the other 2 that you'll talk about clearly probably will not be.
Right.
So I find that very interesting.
So we have Mammy, Sapphire. We use on Esther. Sapphire is the antithesis, and y'all say that word for me. Antithesis of Mammy.
Antithesis?
Hey, listen, stop it.
Friend, I trust you.
Okay, look, y'all know what I'm talking about, so don't judge me. But it's the opposite,
Right.
the opposite of Mammy.
Should have wrote.
Amy.
But she is a large but not obese, darker complected woman. She would emasculate the black man through various insults, and this was made popular by the show Amos and Andy. And so that, I think Sapphire really plays a part now, because obviously we have a new vice president. And I think in her run for president for the initial office, I think that was something she had to fight against.
Oh, when in doubt.
You know, I remember watching the debate with Pence and how, you know, he's interrupted her and you wanted her. I remember in 2008 when Obama was running and Joe Biden went in and did a debate against Sarah Palin. And the way he was like handling her, it was very tactfully disrespectful, and that's when he got the term Uncle Joe. That's when we started to like Uncle Joe, right? He was handling her, but I feel like that is what I wanted from Kamala and against Pence, and you could see she wanted every time she would go to speak, she would bring herself back.
She had to do it a little bit, but I think she did it the same way. To where she was kind of like, if I say this, I'm gonna hurt your feelings.
And it was like, and at the same time, I don't feel like she got to be herself. She got to get him the way he needed to be got.
Yeah,
you know, and because she had to kind of protect against being the angry black woman, like she had to be seen in the light to where, you know, you look like you're electable. You have to play the part.
Yeah,
and it was really rough because I think. In that regard, in media, black women do not get enough credit, and we have you have people. Gabrielle Union comes to mind how she quit America's Got Talent but because she voiced her opinion, now you're difficult. You're not easy to work with, and now once that gets around, you're done.
Right.
You're done. One of my favorite shows currently is The Rookie on ABC.
Okay.
And season 1, he had a training officer who was a black woman. Oh my gosh, her name has slipped my mind. But I'll definitely have to look that up. She's no longer on the show. They replaced her with another black woman, but she's no longer on the show because she had a dispute, a sexual harassment dispute on set, and now she's
hate to hear that.
She can't. She's difficult to work with. You know, all this kind of stuff, and she was amazing. But you know, it's those type of things that women have to deal with.
Yeah.
Talk about it in the workplace. Sydney, kind of talk about.
Oh my God.
You know how that is affect on you being a black woman in the workplace.
It is really rough. I recall a couple of situations where I had no idea how to handle a paper trail incident where you tell me this verbally, and I'm one of the only people that had to deal with it, but I didn't know how to follow up via email because everything I did was face to face, and I had to deal with that because
and CYA.
Yeah,
that you know how to CYA.
And I didn't know how to deal with that initially because it just kind of made me feel out of place because I was like, well, if I can speak to you about it, why do I have to go here? But every time that they spoke to me,
they sent you an email.
They sent me a damn email.
Yeah,
and I got caught up behind not being able to follow my work because it was done, but it was done through an email. And I was like, shit. But you treat me like this, and I know you treating me like this, and I'm watching you treat me like it, but I can't follow up with it. So that kind of made me feel isolated because I had nobody to trust. I was out on an island by myself until I was able to have, a couple of conversations about it. And then, in retail sometimes when I'm in male-dominated fields or industries, it's hard to keep up. When we used to work together, it's hard to sell a TV to a guy as a woman. The best you can do is wear some tight pants and call it a day. like that's hard.
And I'm really glad you said it because we talk about the hypersexuality, the hypersexual what is
Hypersexual woman.
that hypersexualizing women.
Yeah.
And and the fact that you have to do those things.
Yeah.
In order for a guy, especially in a sales field, I can have a conversation with you. I can sell to anybody, but in the sense, you as a woman, you have to flirt with the guy a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to build some kind of appeal,
Yeah.
and it's really insane. But that kind of drags into the last one, which is being a Jezebel. For all intents and purposes, we gonna say it unfiltered. The Jezebel is the hoe.
She's a slut. She's a hoe.
She's
a slut.
but
Got a different girl
that's kind of modern. You're terrible. But that's kind of modernized into the welfare queen, the gold digger, the video vixen. Those things have kind of gotten negative rep. Now, granted, welfare queen can't defend you. Gold digger can't defend you. Video vixen, you just trying to make a living. I can't just
Stripper?
I support single moms. Joking.
I'm not judging.
But no, I don't.
Do you, boo boo?
No, but I don't feel like there's
not
anything.
judging.
I don't feel like there's anything wrong with women. With stripping. I think that is actually a result of the hypersexualizing women. Like it's an industry that forever has been there.
Right.
Probably
Absolutely.
will forever
It's
be
there.
there.
You're just taking advantage of what's there.
And
Oh,
so it's
It's a different kind of strength. I can tell you.
yeah, I mean, it's not something that we can. But I mean, I think that falls into the terms of like a video vixen. When we have now, obviously some have done things that are different. We talk about Corinne Steffens and writing the books and becoming a best-selling author as a result of being a video vixen. We talk about the Melissa Fords, the Esther Baxters, those who have been in the industry for a long time. But that Jezebel archetype, being the welfare queen, being a loose woman who's living off the government and other people's assistance. We see that in movies all the time, right?
I'm sick of that.
The gold digger, the exploitation of good-hearted men. That's something that we see, kind of in action. And then when we talk about, the video vixen, obviously, but those type of things play a part in a part of the history. Like that's a more of a generational curse in a sense on women, because it's something that's from the beginning of the time has been set down and it's kind of become standard. In order for you to be successful in the industries, I use this example all the time. Big Lotto, Mulatto.
That's your girl.
That is my girl, and the problem is I met Mulatto. I met
Same way
Mulatto
I
as a
did.
16-year-old on
Absolutely.
Jermaine Dupri's The Rap Game.
Yeah.
And she had bars, she had talent,
Yeah.
she wrote, she sang, she did it all, and
Yeah.
it was just like, man.
Then the
chick-
next thing I'm hearing, I made him eat it.
I was like,
I'm like, wait a
whoa,
minute.
what's going on? And it was,
I
and
can't handle that.
and then all of the old stuff. One of my favorite lines that she did as a 16-year-old, she said, "I be writing checks. I ain't got time to write love letters." And I was like, "Yeah, sis."
That is accurate.
But then, literally the next
now.
thing, I'm like, "Whoa!"
Oh,
But
yeah.
and it's kind of, why did she feel? I won't say she, but I mean it's more people in the industry. You got Mulatto, you got Cardi, you got Meg, you got Nicki, you got Beyonce, you got Rihanna. Why does in order to be successful, you have to hypersexualize yourself, or you have to really dominate your sex appeal? You have to be sexy. You have to show skin. I mean, if J-Lo came out on the halftime show at the Super Bowl and she had on a pantsuit, hey, would that have been an enjoyable performance?
I think it's okay.
No.
No, it wouldn't have been.
Nah.
It would have
We
been
ain't trying to
definitely
see that.
boring. Yeah, it'd have been boring, especially because football is for men.
Right. True.
I think women tend to do that, or I'm not even gonna say women, because I think men get a chance to do their little rain scenes with no shirts on. They do that too.
True.
I think it shows, especially when you're a child star. I think it shows some type of realness to you. It makes you human, or it makes you relatable to somebody. So they tend to want to be like, oh, she was willing to take her shirt off.
You
Yeah.
know what kind of comes to mind when you say that?
The Halle Berry scene, Monsters Ball.
I'm glad you put that in my head. But no, 'cause that's not exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I was talking about Halle and Chloe. How Chloe is now moving into the adulthood of their career.
Yeah.
But Halle is about to be, Little Mermaid, and she's more so going the child star Zendaya route.
Staying in that lane.
Right. She's kind of, and so, but you're seeing them kind of split. Now they have separate Instagrams.
I'm like, whoa.
And so it's,
it's funny because you told me that they had separate Instagrams, and then I went and looked, and I was like, oh, they really have separate Instagrams.
Yeah.
Like two totally different content. One girl's playing the guitar, singing all sweet in the mirror. I mean, in the window and everything, and the other one's,
the busted challenge. But it was really fun because even if you go into the comments when she's playing the guitar, everybody's just like, "Oh, so beautiful!"
Yeah.
Oh my god! But then you go into the like the busted challenge, and everybody's just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah. And I bet you that video where she was actually creating that beat, it doesn't have the same views.
It does because I looked at it and the beat was cold.
The beat is tight.
The beat is insane. Like
no,
it doesn't have as many, but it does.
That's all I'm saying.
It does have 1 million views.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But I think they created their separate accounts at the same time, and one has over twice as many followers.
And she's
I wonder which one that is.
I mean,
and that's terrible.
I wonder which one that is.
And that's terrible that
that's the case. But
that's the case. But y'all know why that's the case.
We know that's the case. So here's the question. Here is the question. Do men, particularly black men, play a role in this exploitation?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Y'all like ass. You like ass. So that's the first part.
But here's the reality. The reality is, tell me if I'm wrong, women like ass too.
We like to appreciate other women in those regards. Like, oh, she's a nice looking lady.
Okay, so we're gonna have to.
That don't necessarily, we appreciate it that way.
That's true, but it goes deeper than that.
It goes deeper than that, and I'm not saying deep in like.
How knee deep we talking?
I like what you did. I see what you did there.
That was nice.
But I'm not. I'm not saying it in a sense of it goes deeper to where they, it's a lesbian fantasy or things of that sort. But women love to appreciate women's bodies.
Absolutely.
And
I'm not gonna buy this shirt if it doesn't look good on somebody else's frame that looks like mine or that it however look on me. So absolutely, I totally agree.
So yes, we can agree that men play a role in this exploitation. I think that goes back to last week talking about the rape culture. I mean, all of this stuff ties together because it's essentially, I think, with this industry, women have taken it in their hands and say, you know what, instead of other people making money off of my sex appeal and my frame and things of that sort, let me do it myself. And I think it's really, really good for the empowerment of women. But we talk about Foxy Brown and that era of film and what that kind of meant for black women and even black men in that regard. It's an important era, but how it's transitioned into today's lane, is kind of completely different, than it was. So we talked about the black men's role. And I think what is intriguing about this is I was thinking about for those, Chris, I'll kind of ask you because I know you came from a single parent household, like with your mom. Shout out Miss C.
Hey.
Got to shout out Miss C for sure. But you come from a single parent household, so when you're looking for a male figure, I think a lot of times you look to, obviously, we have rappers, ball players, we have other athletes, but I think when we were coming up, we looked to TV. Like, would you agree?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
I mean, and now we don't have that. We don't. If we look at some of the prominent black dads.
We got something like
First
that.
things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Hey.
For real.
For real. Shout out to J. Cole and No Role Models. Heathcliff Huxtable. What's his name? Combustible Huxtable. That was his track name. But Bill Cosby from The Cosby Show. James Evans from Good Times. Michael Kyle from My Wife and Kids. I think that's who I parent after. I'm Michael Kyle.
Damon Wayans?
Yeah, I think.
That's hilarious.
I think
I never watched that show.
Jr.?
No.
I never got into that one.
No,
we ain't gonna do him like that.
Gonna do him like that.
All right, thank you.
But then we got Flex Washington.
My
Go
guy.
ahead, go ahead.
We got Flex Washington from 101. I think that he was real big because he was a single dad.
Yeah.
He was living his
Yeah.
life, but he slowed down his life for his kid.
Yeah.
And then
Flat out.
and then
Shout out to them shows that used to be on UPN.
all the shows that used to be on UPN.
Oh, Monday, man.
Was
And
it
then Floyd.
UPN, CPN?
It was
Yeah,
UPN.
It was UPN, right?
Every
Okay.
Monday.
And
7
then
o'clock.
Smart Guy,
Yeah.
that boy Floyd Henderson.
He's a smart guy.
I mean, there's many that we can name, but Floyd being a single parent as
dad,
well,
right.
single dad doing his thing. So I mean, we had people to look for in TV. So we talk about the black men that we had now versus then versus now with kids. They only we only really look to athletes, or rappers. And so you have kids who we have we always have a discussion in talking about the influence of that rappers have now versus rappers then, and the younger generation feels like their rappers now have a bigger influence, and it's like, well, that's due to social media. It's not bigger; it's just seen more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, who do kids now look to? Who would you look to and say? You know what I mean? Like that's who I want to be.
Anybody born after '98, I dislike y'all. I really do.
You know who kids look to now?
Who's that?
NBA YoungBoy. That's
I
who
was
kids
I
look
was
to.
thinking it was
For-
one of
for-
those guys with a weird name.
Yeah, that's who they look to.
I just thought it was one
Showing
of
your
them.
age.
That's who they look to.
I mean, generally, that they look to people who are living a life that, for most kids, they not living.
not living,
right?
yeah.
But
Right.
you're idolizing.
I blame Soulja Boy.
A social media presence.
Why you blame Soulja Boy?
I blame Soulja Boy because he created the whole YouTube thing where
Right.
it became that big thing. I'm putting my life on
Got big
YouTube,
break
and
on
he created that, so everybody started to do that. Full Dracos, all in your videos.
I'm sure he
we
would be
show him,
happy
we shoot him in
for
my
the
city.
credit.
Like,
He would definitely
that's
be
how
happy
you
for
act.
Be happy for the credit.
I mean, but
Oh, I'm happy he's gonna be happy for the credit, but he's still stupid for what he did.
I
Nowadays-
think we have a lot of people who could be role models or are role models, but a lot of those people don't share their life. So we only we generally we talked about people earlier, Kobe, LeBron. We only see their life on the court.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, like we said, we spoke about end of the career, we saw who Kobe was.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see LeBron has a voice on social issues and things of that sort. But that's not the influence. The influence is, a lot of younger people, they listen to Drake, but
nobody's relating to Drake for a reason.
and we have a lot of the people who have influence. We talk about Jay. When Jay is speaking to where we can understand. Jay is speaking about generational wealth and speaking about culture and things of that sort. Jay is not speaking about the
same
things
that
he was speaking about when
in
we were
'96.
kids.
Yeah, he's not doing the same thing.
And so it's completely different. And I feel like, but based off what we were talking about, we drew our likenesses and our influences
Absolutely.
from TV, black sitcoms. And so I think that's really something I want to talk with you guys about, black sitcoms.
Oh yeah. Because I wanted to be black. Dark skin ain't Viv. I thought dark skin ain't
Dark
Viv.
skin,
Dark skin
Vil.
ain't Vil.
And you know what? We can definitely. I was going to wait on Fresh Prince, but let's get into Fresh Prince because I feel like, you know what? We can't get into Fresh Prince. We
Okay.
got to go back.
Let's go back.
Okay.
Let's talk about Good Times.
Okay.
All right, we got to talk about Good Times.
I know Mike.
Can we talk about it?
Go ahead.
Can I be honest?
You have to be unapologetic.
Your 2 cents.
You're right.
It's your 2 cents.
I hate Good Times.
Really?
I said it.
Is
I
out
said
there?
it. The reason I hate Good Times, in that era, I understand the role that it played. It was important because a lot of people were struggling, keeping their head above water, making a way when you can, temporary layoffs.
Good times.
So it was important for people to see, hey, you can still enjoy life in the midst of the struggle. Right? You can still,
Dang. That just hit me.
But it was really
Can't
important.
stay there.
But I think Good Times now is
Right.
damaging because it continues to show the struggle. It showed us that struggle was okay and you could be happy with it.
Yeah.
Right? And then on top of that, James died,
Oh, yeah.
and now you gotta have a family out here with
No black father.
no black father, and it was just like,
That's
so
a lot. That's probably why I never watched it myself. I don't think I could tell you an episode.
It's a lot that goes into it, but we talked that Good Times is the generational curse of a black dad. That is what he was. He was strong,
Yeah.
and he gave you love, but it was in a different type of way.
Yeah.
He
Very
specialized in the ass whoopings.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And I mean, they had the scenes where you see the loving side on him.
Yeah.
But you also saw everybody had a fear of their dad, and it wasn't like a healthy fear. I feel like everyone should have a healthy fear of authority.
Right.
Yeah.
It's respect.
Like a respect.
Pure
figure.
respect.
Like I don't want this guy on me,
yeah.
so let me do what I got to do, right? But that's kind of how I feel about Good Times. I feel so much about it.
You feel better?
No.
No.
I mean, what do y'all feel? Like, let's talk about Good Times.
I don't have much to say about Good Times, but I do wish that I could have enjoyed Good Times so that I could have a better understanding of it. But when it comes on as a rerun, I can't watch it.
I understand.
I just can't. I don't like, because like him, I don't like to see that part of the struggle. I don't like to know that type of part. And then wasn't that like the same sitcom where they always joke about Penny getting beat with some type of iron or something?
Yeah, Penny definitely got beat.
Yeah, see, I don't it's so much. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to be reminded of that.
I understand that.
I mean, I've never dealt with that. Shout out to my cool mother. Never had to deal with nothing like that.
So for me, it's funny because Good Times, when it was coming on, I was a lot younger. So what really primarily attracted me to the show was obviously JJ and his punchline, Dynamite,
Right.
And so I would really watch it more so for laughs. And it's not until sitting here in this moment that I'm listening to the theme song in my head and I'm thinking about everything the show was actually about, everything that it stood for. And I'm thinking like, will we even be able to have a show like this in modern day America? No, I don't think black people would allow themselves to
would not allow it
to even be depicted that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we leave from Good Times.
Because wasn't it a spinoff? Or was it? I get it. I'm sorry. The Jeffersons had the spinoff. Which
Yes.
was 227.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
that's where Regina King came from.
you leave from
227.
Good Times and you go into probably what I credit as probably one of the most important black sitcoms ever. This is obvious.
The Cosby Show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because it showed the opposite of Good Times.
Prominence.
You had,
Yeah.
and I think
Black
and you know
excellence.
what? In the first episode, I'll take you back. First episode, Claire is not a lawyer. In the first episode, Claire is a house mom.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think it was really important that they went back and changed it to give her
some credit,
a role, give her a actual
An
prominent
identity.
job as well. And so the first one, they never say she's not a lawyer. You could just clearly see she's a housewife. And then when Cliff would come home, Cliff took care of all the issues with
At
the
home.
kid. Like she came in, you need to go talk to your son, blah, 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 blah. And I think after that first episode, after that pilot, they go into,
we need to have this.
We had the powerful black mom, the powerful black dad. They were a dynamic duo.
Yes.
They took care of the children. It became the perfect sitcom, and we credit that. It showed the healthy, loving black family.
Absolutely.
There was alternative discipline.
Yes.
Like I don't. Heathcliff ain't never whoop ass.
He left that to the mother.
Now Claire had some moments where you thought she was gonna tear something up, and she didn't. But it was the complete opposite of that. Show successful black family. Showed us what was possible.
Absolutely.
Whether it was something that was possible that we could kind of strive for. On the side of that, it spins off into like a different world, which showed us a different world. Showed us they dealt with real life issues that affected young black America, and I think it provided a perspective, gave us insight into HBCUs, and then having to find yourself. It dealt with the issues of racism. It dealt with going out on dates and getting raped.
Yeah,
they dealt with
AIDS.
just made you want to go to college. Made you Bill Cosby on the show that always wore black college hoodies.
Shout out to Martin doing the same thing.
Martin did the same thing. Queen Latifah
Tifa
did the same thing.
Absolutely.
Those. I'm sure there's probably more. I don't want to miss nobody, but I'm sure there's probably more. But they were pushing that. But a different world put it on TV. That was first experience with Greek life. Just all these things. So those two shows were important. Like definitely important in the growth of the black culture. For sure. I mean, we don't have to spend a lot of time on the Cosby Show. But now that brings us to Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
And the reason when people always ask, favorite black sitcom, the reason Fresh Prince is always number 2 is because from season 1, 2, 3 with dark skin unveiled, the fact that we call her dark skin and light skin unveiled,
that's a whole nother conversation.
That takes us back to episode, the generation curses.
Right. Yeah.
And the same thing, we associate them. The ironic part about that is that dark skin Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert, the role she played on the show is actually who Daphne Reed was in real life. I don't know if y'all knew that.
I didn't.
I would definitely encourage everyone to look at the history of Daphne Reed. She being, all the things that she did, being the first black woman. I can't even name any of it because I didn't write it. But I read an article on her. The image that we have of her in Fresh Prince is like complete opposite of who she was. But you saw in Fresh Prince, you had the first 3 seasons. They talked of everything about Black history, Malcolm X, fighting for equality, and that was something that was really important. And then in season 4,
it got corny.
It definitely turned into a
Cornwall show.
You know what? I didn't even have to say it, but it definitely turned into something completely different. Instead of dealing with the racial issues that you dealt with early on, you then turn into more generic, like gun violence, stuff that we would see on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Love Saved by the Bell.
I mean, and it was an ABC show, so they kind of transitioned. Yeah. And I think that was the same time that Will started to move into film industry.
Oh yeah.
So they had to take him from. I feel like they had to take him from being a black figure to a lovable figure. So they moved into Bad Boys. Yeah. And then he blew up. He had just did 6 Degrees of Separation, which was terrible. But he went into Bad Boys and blew up from there. You know what I mean? The show was really like never the same from there. So I mean, it's
very much.
It's really. I thought one of the things that was big that they didn't really necessarily. One of the things in the later seasons we got to give them credit for. Probably the most iconic scene of the show. When Lou came and told Will there wasn't room for him on this trip.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was that dad scene was really big. And I think in that I don't know if y'all have seen the Fresh Prince reunion.
Yeah, I've seen pieces of it.
Not yet.
It's
I've seen pieces.
crisp.
There's a reason why.
You gotta watch clips at least.
Let me tell you why. So I'm currently watching all of Fresh Prince with my daughter right now.
Oh, okay, got you.
We are in season 2. We're almost finished.
Okay.
So everything and this is my first time watching Fresh Prince as an adult.
Right.
So I'm really looking for some of the things that you're talking about. And when I finish, I will be watching the reunion.
Well, in the reunion, and this is Will actually put this on social media, but he talked about that scene and how that was his first acting where he kept screwing up on the scene. And James Avery, who doesn't get enough credit in the industry as well, R.I.P. James Avery. But James Avery, tells him, lock in, look at me. And they go through the scene, and he, Will is acting, and Will goes into his cry, which became his patent cry. Yeah. And when they hugged at the end, James Avery said in his ear, "Now that's the acting." And so it was like Will talked about how everyone on the show talked about how James Avery was a real life dad. The same role he played for us from watching him, he was really that guy. And so I mean, it was really, it was really, really, a guy who I never looked at as a father figure.
Ooh.
Carl Winslow.
And I love Family Matters. I'm very upset with you.
Okay,
He was
look.
a very good father figure.
I thought he was really good. I mean,
was
he
a
had
very
his
good
moments.
father figure. Did you ever?
I'm gonna raise my hand. Can I say something?
It's your show.
Okay.
Family Matters was not a black sitcom. Family Matters was a white sitcom with black characters.
Oh, well, we know that because Harry Winslow, she was pissed about that after a little while. That's why she ended up getting replaced by Gina Waters' mama.
Gina Waters' mama was on the show. She was. But that's the only episode that I can remember being anything that pushed the culture forward was when Eddie was racially profiled.
Then he got in trouble by the police.
And got in trouble by the police. Yeah. And I thought, there's a lot of good that came from that episode.
I still see that clip to this day.
Yeah,
I like it.
And so it was that's probably the only scene I can remember. I felt like that the character of Steve Urkel, although it was popular, it wasn't really necessarily. But I don't want to make it seem like these shows weren't important because it was still black characters on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Nonetheless. But Family Matters is not.
I like Family Matters. I appreciate it.
I did too until I got older. Now I have not watched an episode in probably 10 years.
I go back and watch it all the time.
Nope.
I go back and most of the time I go back and watch specific ones, like when Steve does the Urkel dance and they got his little people got him drunk. Lorenz Tate.
Yeah, I remember
Lorenz
that.
Tate little
Way
character
back
did
then.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
watched that one. I watched the one where Laura went and got the gun and wanted a gun and somebody got shot at the school.
Right.
So, I enjoy them, and then I just like the little fake love story that they had. So that's the reason why I watch it. That's the other reason why I watch it.
I genuinely hate the way they did Judy.
Yeah, poor Judy went upstairs. And
Judy Judy went upstairs. Next thing you know, she was in the porn industry. Like
she was done.
I mean,
Tough.
and so
And they did an episode about that where it was kind of like she was actually jealous of Little Richie, and he actually ended up becoming like the person in that role, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So
And they replaced her.
They
with
literally replaced her
And
with
so
Richie. So I thought that was funny.
It's really insane. So we talk about Family Matters, and I feel like it's important to ask: is it the responsibility of content creators to push the culture forward with every project?
I wouldn't say every project. I would say when it calls for it, they should. Shout out to Lena for doing some of the stuff that she does.
Right.
Issa Rae, I truly enjoy some of the stuff that she
Right.
Oh,
does.
yeah, absolutely.
Issa is really, really
She's great.
She's really great.
She's
So
great.
I think it is important, including the guy responsible for Blackish.
Yeah.
Kenya
Burris.
Barris.
Yeah.
I appreciate what he's doing right
Yeah.
now because his episodes have always been that way. I think it's always okay to kind of always put our culture first. You don't have to whitewash everything.
Right.
Everything doesn't require you to try to get the dollar.
And I think that's what's in kind of a really big thing in the industry because I feel like my favorite sitcom ever, Sydney, is what? Martin, bro. You clearly like I'm looking at you like.
Yeah, I wanted to make
Martin.
sure
Our favorite show
favorite,
is Martin, but Martin wasn't culturally relevant. I mean,
it was funny.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, he
Absolutely
didn't have a
hilarious.
reason to do all of that extra, but he dealt with it.
Right,
Yeah.
and so
Right.
it's I think it's not maybe not every project, but I do feel like what you put on TV should it should be a positive image.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I feel like the Wayans family has done is you have to understand their lane, which I didn't for a while, but they made comedy out of the stereotypes that
Absolutely.
are put on. And it was like, because I used to get upset, like why are y'all showing this? Like, why are y'all putting this out here? But it was like they turned those things into comedy, made it funny, made it something that that we can kind of laugh at.
And Living Color was a really good sketch.
It was
a really good sketch show.
I mean, so
They did well.
Chris, we asked Nee, how do you feel? Do you feel like they should push it forward with every project?
I feel like we do have a responsibility to push it forward to an extent with every project. The reason why is because at the end of the day, we're still the minority and we still have a smaller voice. So when you get an opportunity to be heard on a larger platform, it's always great to represent your people and to show things that are representations of your people, and also to to talk about Martin a little bit, even though it wasn't direct, like we didn't have episodes focused on some of the things that we did, like on a Fresh Prince or something. Martin was still a very great representation of just an average black man. You know, you have a job, you got a girlfriend, you got your boys, and you literally are trying to maintain and be able to go to work, buy you a pair of Jordans, and kick it with your lady on the weekend. So even though it's not structured to be like, oh, we're going to be conscious on this episode, and this episode, every person can relate to Martin because that's literally who we are. You know, you got your apartment, you got your girl, your boys, and you trying to make it all work, get to the next level. You know?
And he did. And he was about to blow up.
What? You know what? I think one thing that you said that was really key is saying it's important to see ourselves represented. So I'll ask, when was the last time, Nee, that you saw yourself represented on TV?
Issa Rae, Insecure.
Yeah.
Issa Rae nailed it. Like,
I think it's definitely important. You know, I think that's definitely. I just hope it doesn't turn into the game. But
no.
Chris,
This is the last one.
What would you say is, you know, last time you saw yourself like represented?
This got to be homework for me because I'm really sitting here thinking like.
I mean,
TV wise, it's very hard to put a finger on it because we have so few options.
Like let's name black sitcoms currently.
Yeah.
Oh, hard.
You got Blackish.
Comma. Probably that's it.
And they put a few cheesy ones on Netflix that they try to force down your throat and get you to like.
How many of those I've actually watched?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm really thinking, and it's not. I don't. You know, it's not. I feel like Blackish. I feel like Blackish is like the modern Cosby Show.
Right.
I feel like, you know, they're doing all the spinoffs. I was good with Grownish, now they doing Mixedish, and I'm like,
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, they try to force things down you.
They're gonna do Oldish as well.
And at the end of the day, when you deal with these shows and put them on major networks, the overhead is still not us.
Right.
So they're still, maybe they take our culture and try to make it corny, or they take things that we don't even use, been done using for 20 years ago, different lingos, different slangs, different topics that we used to get off on, and they try to talk about those things, and it's just like, all right, this is what they're giving us, but I can't even relate. And when I'm listening to you talk about all the shows that we grew up on in that, you know, 90s, early 2000s, 80s, whatever, those shows felt like we had more control over what we wanted to push out about us.
Right.
Whereas now it seems like you may watch an episode of Blackish or another popular black sitcom, and it's just like somebody else pushed this agenda and put black people on it.
I'll give you an example. The Carmichael Show.
Oh, yeah. The Carmichael Show was really
was
good.
Amazing.
I actually was upset that I found the Carmichael Show after it went off.
And but I mean, literally, it was Jared Carmichael. You know, I praise him for this, but it was, you know, he was running the show. It was an episode they wanted to air for. There was a mall shooting that he was involved in, and they wouldn't air it, so he quit. And eventually it got aired. But that is a show that dealt with issues every episode, and it wasn't on a culturally, you know, like a conscious way. They used comedy to explain it, but it was like he had his dad who was played by David Allen Greer, and you know, his dad had all those old school ways of thinking. Absolutely. He always challenged those, and his mom had ways of thinking. They always challenged those, and you had his girlfriend Maxine who had the enlightened, you know, way of thinking, and he was kind of like the stirring voice for
the black sheep. Supposedly.
You know, so he was like, well, no, I don't necessarily. And sometimes he would be in complete left field, and they would bring him back. It was a good balance of the show. Yeah. But I mean, I'm glad you finally found it.
Yeah, I did
for sure. But
I
mean,
because I found it.
That's it.
444.
had to be Jay. Had to be Jay.
Shout out to Jay.
Shout out to Jay for sure.
For like the third episode.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jay.
I feel like Jay just gets a shout out every episode. You know, and I feel
somehow,
like
some way,
it can only be Sydney. It can only be C. It can only be Sid Vicious who does that.
Shout out to J Rock.
But no, I feel like it's really important to get that representation in media, because we talked about at the end of American Skin how we get the perception or we get talked about completely different in the media. We've had conversations among our partners when we talk about how when a black coach is fired from a team, they always say, recently Anthony Lynn was fired by the Chargers. They talk about these people being fired, but when Matt Patricia, a counterpart white man, is fired,
they parted ways.
They parted ways.
Oh yeah.
You know,
He decided not to return to the team.
Matter of fact, when the Cowboys fired Jason Garrett, usually in the media, the Cowboys and Jason Garrett have mutually agreed to part ways.
Yeah.
Ain't no way. That man didn't mutually agree to get fired.
They dressed
Not
it
at
up
all.
so nice.
He wanted to go to work.
But they made it seem in a way that it wasn't negative. But that's done in the media because it shapes how we think. We think, oh, he was fired, so he was doing a terrible job. They parted ways. They just couldn't come to an agreement. Right. Or when even at the end of American Skin.
Yeah.
When it was with the American Skin, they were talking about how
mental
illness. He had
And
PTSD.
He was going through this.
Yeah, he was not.
He was hurt.
He felt some type of way, and
he did something about it.
And so you have all these different ways of putting things into the media. The way they used to spin stuff about Trump, bro.
Oh my God.
Oh my. Lord.
Oh my God.
Like how? Huh?
Nah, I was just playing. I said we moved past it. Let it go. Let it go.
You know what? You know what?
Can I ask y'all something real quick? Should we hold Diddy a little bit more accountable for the content that's on Revolt, or did he sell it? Because I don't really know. Because that was supposed to be. That was supposed to be for us.
It was.
So I'm a little concerned about some of the content that I do see. I'm glad that it's enough music there, but I think we need a little bit more news outlets. Roland Martin.
I would agree with you.
Okay. I think he, that's what TV One was supposed to be a little bit more news outlets and stuff
Tavis,
like that. And Tavis and all of that stuff. I think those old school people, they need to come back. And I'm not calling you old Roland Martin, but you're older than me. But I want you
oldish.
Yeah, you're oldish. I just want you to get out there and pull those other journalists. Shout out to the African American lady on CNN that just got her little news anchor show too.
Yeah.
So we need that.
I mean, but we feel the same way about Oprah. Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
I feel like
stop telling the same story.
That's all they know.
I mean, the problem is that the content. I think the problem with Tyler Perry is that he doesn't have a writer's room. So when you don't have a writer's room, all of your ideas flow into everything, and your comedy is not funny, or it may have been funny 20 years ago. But I mean, I definitely want to challenge those people to give content that pertains to us now, and things that are going to push us forward. We had the what's the husband and wife who did the game? Mara and Salim Brock, Akil Block.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. But those guys had how the wife has now signed a deal with Netflix, but I don't know if she's released anything out. But I mean, we just need content. We need content. We need something out there that can kind of because we have a whole generation that's on its way to being lost. You know what I mean? And I mean,
land of the lost.
There's not many shows out there. There's not many things to look for on TV that can kind of bring them back. So I think black media representation. I encourage people to start looking at it, really diving into it and seeing how different things are portrayed. Because it's important that you see it and then you're able to speak and educate others about it. But I definitely we've talked about that media. I definitely want to get us a wrap up here and kind of get us going for 2 pennies for thought today. I definitely, with it being Black History, we're going to start this is the first episode 1 of our Black History series that we're going to go on for the month of February. But for 2 pennies for thought, I definitely want to highlight important figures in Black history, the ones that we don't necessarily know. And we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about Robert Abbott. Not sure if many people know who Robert Abbott is, but Robert Abbott was actually the founder of a newspaper in Chicago, 1905, called the Chicago Defender. Newspaper. He started the newspaper with an initial investment of 25 cents. That would be the equivalent of $7 today. Started printing in a room at a boarding house. Although he did not forget where he came from, the lady who owned the boarding house, he actually bought her an 8-room house after his success. But the Defender circulation reached 50,000 people in the first 10 years, and more than 2,000 people by the early 1920s. Abbott is credited with contributing to the Great Migration of the rural South blacks to Chicago, as the Defender was known as America's black newspaper, the most widely circulated black newspaper in the country, resulting in Abbott becoming one of the first self-made millionaires of African-American descent. Abbott was known as a fighter and the defender of rights. He listed 9 goals as the Defender's Bible. Number 1, American race prejudice must be destroyed. 2, opening up all trade unions to blacks as well as whites. 3, representation in the president's cabinet. Number 4, hiring black engineers, firemen, and conductors on all American railroads and all jobs in government. 5, gaining representation in all departments of the police force over the entire United States. 6, government schools giving preference to American citizens before foreigners. 7, hiring black motormen and conductors on the surface, elevated and motor bus lines throughout America. Number 8, federal legislation to abolish lynching that we just got in 2020.
Oh, that's so terrible.
That is insane. And number 9, full enfranchisement of all American citizens. So I would encourage you to definitely research Robert Abbott.
Good find, Cam.
Robert Abbott. I think I felt like he was really important, especially speaking about the misrepresentation in media. Here's a guy who contributed to the Great Migration by educating, the blacks of the South of what was going up north, what was possible up north. There's actually a story that the train conductors who it was a I can't remember the name, Porter Publishing or something or another.
Okay.
They would drop newspapers off the back of the train, and the blacks of the community would find them. And that's how they distributed. So although he was making money with 200,000 being distributed, there were more people reading and being educated. So this guy with 25 cents, with $7 in 2020, $7 was able to contribute to the Great Migration.
Great.
So I mean, just insane things in Black history. Robert Abbott.
Nice.
So that is going to kind of wrap us up for today. We will definitely want to like, follow, and subscribe to the pod. We definitely appreciate everything that all the love that we have been getting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We're definitely going to, as we close every show, we normally add 2 songs very quickly. Chris, 2 songs. What you got for me?
2 songs. The first one is going to be Fear by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
And the second one is going to be, this is for the ladies. I think they'll all like this. It's called I Am. It's by Young Baby Tate featuring Flo Milli. So go check that out.
Flo Milli, son?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. You'll like it. I promise you. I know if you listen.
See, what's your song and then your J song? You know
First
it's
of
going to
all-
be a J song.
First of all, relax.
Okay.
Because it is.
Okay.
It is. My first song is Reality Check by No Name.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, I like that.
And then, of course, Somehow, Some Way, the Blueprint to Jay-Z featuring Beanie Siegel and the Houston Man, Scarface. Let's go.
Okay.
So,
All right. I'm going to go a Michael Jackson track. They don't really know about us.
Come on.
That's my joint. I got to go with MJ. And then also I'm going to go Blue Skies by Common. One of my favorite tracks. I could quote that all day. But those are going to be the tracks we're going to add on there this week.
Sounds good.
We will be back next week,
Yes, we
per
will.
usual, with another topic centered around our Black history. Definitely check out the playlist on Apple Music and Spotify. Somebody told me it wasn't up on Spotify. I got to double check that. But Apple Music for sure.
Yeah.
Spotify, My2Centz, the playlist volume 1. Definitely check that out. And tell a friend to tell a friend to tell
Please.
a friend
Please.
about the pod. My2Centz with Cameron Kegler. Can't leave out the homie Nee, the homie Chris.
Yeah.
If there be nothing more, the producer Mike. What's going on, man? Let's take us out of here, man.